Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Well, now I am working on getting the injectors put back on this thing. Right there's one of them. And I think I said before that surprisingly enough, when we had these injectors tested, come on, there we are, drop in, that they tested perfect, which is kind of surprising for being original. I would have figured they would have had to have rebuilt at least one of them. But yeah, like I say, the guy checked them all out and he said every one of them tested just perfect. So I've got one there. He must have loosened the top up on the thing. He didn't get it tightened back down. So I'm going to check them all, make sure them top pieces right there are all tightened down. We should be good to go. Okay, I found out that right there is actually kind of just like a little swivel piece on there. And so it'll actually turn independently of the injector itself. I didn't even realize that. I guess that lets you take and get the injector lined up. So, okay, that's got about as far down as I can get to turn with my fingers, so I'm going to grab me a deep well socket. I got looking in my manual, and it said it taken put NICs around on that injector, also on the threads. And so I'm going to take and make sure I put NICs on that before I take and put them in there. And then the main reason why I was looking in the manual is I wanted to find out what torque spec it called for, and it says 55 to 65 foot-pounds. So you would have thought they would have at least just given you like a straightforward answer. So, alright, that's got that one spun in by hand anyway. Now I'll jump over here. That's number 6. Now I'll work on this right here on number 5. I just took a regular ratchet and tightened this one here down good and snug. The thing, however, you gotta kind of play with is with this here turning independent of that, is when you go you tighten that down, you kind of have to get this return line hole lined up or set so that when you pull it down tight, it's pointing straight out. That way you can hook your return line that runs across out here and connects all 6 injectors together to be able to get it on. Otherwise, you'll turn it down, and that little port hole right there might be pointing off over here to the side or flip clear down here on the back side. So you just got to kind of play with it. So now I'm going to get started over here on number 5. Alrighty, here's number 5 going in. Oh, these things also have a come on. Anyway, you can see it right there. They got that aluminum washer, and so you take and you put that on there. Well, I got stuck on. Now I don't want to come off, which I don't really want to take it off. But what that does is it seals it up down there at the bottom, right where the end actually sticks in, well, out the bottom of the head above the cylinder, and that aluminum just kind of smashes out and seals it up. So I'm taking drop number 5 right down in there like that and start spinning it down. Let me grab a socket. I can spin it a little bit easier. There we go. Okay, there it can tighten down a little bit. Now, like I say, I've got to take and hold this part right here and turn that top part and kind of dial that return line hole back. That way, as I go and pull, as you tighten it down, I need to get an extension. Now, let's see here. I don't know if, okay, well, that tightened it down, but the more I pull on it, it's going to throw that hole off the side, and it's not going to line up. like that. It's not going to line up to the return line. Yeah, take and dial that back just a little bit more. Now, let's see what happens. Okay, I grabbed me an extension. Now, let's kind of, okay, there it's snugging up. And the hole is still slightly pointing kind of off toward this side. And so as you pull it on down, it, for the most part, straightens up. We'll just have to see though once I put the pole on down to 55 to 65 foot-pounds, which I may just go with an even 60 right in the middle, and we'll see how well that'll line up. So, all right, now I'm gonna grab another injector and keep working on the other 4 here, and then we'll be ready to start torquing things up. Alrighty, I just got the last injector put in. So I grab my torque wrench here, sitting on 60 foot-pounds, and let's see what happens. Okay, well, like I say, you got to make sure that little hole for your return line is facing out. Let's see what happens here on injector number 5. Up the GoPro's wanting to jump all over the place. I've got it kind of balancing on top of the oil filter. Let's see here about number 5. Okay, there we go. Come on, get off there. Uh-oh. That's not lined up right. So what I'm going to do, kind of back it off a little bit, hold that bottom piece and turn the top backwards just a bit. That way when you put the pole down, that return line hole is pointing straight out. That way you can get the line put on. Now let's see. There's 60. Getting closer. A little bit more. Taking dialing back, if I can make it. Come on. Just gotta wash it, don't want to go back too far. Okay, now let's head again. Okay, coming down. Click. All right, now we're facing straight out. Well, I'm gonna finish up the last 4 and that'll have all 6 injectors popped in the thing. Got all the injectors torqued down. Now I'm hooking these little connectors. That's it screws into that little return hole for the return line. I can get the dumb thing started. There we go. Okay, there's one. Go ahead and take and tighten them up. Those actually have a small O-ring at the bottom of them. There we go. And it's got that swivel out there on the end. So I'll show you one more here on number 5. And the same thing. Get started in there. There we go. Alrighty, that's got that one. Now I'm going to continue right across here and get the other 4 put in. Well, I got all these little connectors here all hooked in. Now here is the first half of return line. I got the camera sitting actually sitting up on top of the fuel pump. I need to have it out of my way, that way I can work. So let's see here how well these are going to line up and if they're going to work or not. Okay, number 6, that one's threading on. Number 5, and just a smidge off. Number 4 right there, looks like that one's going to line up perfect. With these lines, there is a little bit of play as far as left and right movement. Let's see here if I can get number 5 started. Well, maybe. Okay, that one started. I'm going to actually take and loosen up that little compression nut and center up this little line right here. And let's see here about number 4. And that one's off just a bit. Let me see if I need a wrench for something. I grabbed my 11/16 wrench, and you can kind of tweak these just a bit due to the fact that they're actually that tightener nut, that jam nut, is like a swivel on there. And so I bumped that over just a bit to help it line up a little bit better. I think that may have it. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, now I need to get the next half that will cover 1, 2, and 3 right here. And right here is the next half. And that's not wanting to plug together too well right here. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of adjusting a little. Let me see. Okay, well I've been kind of having to play around with this thing. Let me see here. I thought I had you mounted up halfway decent here on the alternator, if it'll hold. There we go. So I'm trying to get all these lines here to match in, getting all the little fittings tightened down, which is easier said than done, because you just have all these little compression fittings everywhere. And so I wanted to kind of center this one right here up. There we go. In fact, I need to look on the 4955. I think this might actually be a little bit different, which anything would be an improvement over having all these little individual lines and then gazillions of compression fittings. Well, I finally got all these little compression fittings tightened down. That takes a while. So here is, hopefully you can see that halfway decent, what I would call the bank of injector lines. And I actually left them all together. Let's get some stuff out of the way here. And so they're all one big block. I took them out that way. Let's see if I can put them back in that way. Okay, well, not too bad. Get them all to drop down. Sit on top of the pump. I think you can probably, yeah, right there's the pump. You can see that halfway decent. I got you sitting on top of the alternator mount right now. So let's see what we got. Well, let's just start right here in the middle. Maybe that'll kind of help begin to hold it in place. I think that one might have started. Yeah. Let's jump on over here to 2. Check that one. And maybe not. Gonna have to keep playing with it. Okay, getting some of these popped in here on, well, hey, that one, hey, that's got 2 of them. That's got 2 of them threaded in on top of the pump. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there's 3. Hey, we're halfway done. Alrighty, let's jump on down here on this one. Well, hey, that one spun down easy. Wish they'd all do that. There goes 2. And line number 1. Come on, get in there. Okay, hey, that's got all 6 lines hooked to the pump anyway. I think that line started on 2. 3, that one started, I believe. Let's jump on over here on 4. Come on. Kind of got to wiggle him around. Okay, you know what? I think that one did start. May just need a wrench to take and tighten him on down. Down here on 5. That little jam nut on number 5 don't want to turn too easy. Oh, I see why the rest of them turn so easy. They all have fuel leaking through right there. Number 5, he's all dry. No wonder why. I'll grab a little WD and shoot on. That'll free him up. Let's see if we can get number 6 here going. Hey, I think it started. Gonna have to get my line wrench. I did get number 5 on, so put a little bit of squirt juice on that jam nut thread and he's going right on down. Alrighty. Well, hey, there we go. Well, hey, that's got all the injector lines all spun on with my fingers. Now I just got to go across my wrench and tighten them up. Got my line wrench here. Let's start tightening up these injector lines. I've already tightened where the lines hook onto the fuel pump. I've already tightened those up. Now I just got to hit the injectors here. If I can get my wrench down in there, that's just the problem. I want to see if I can spin those down as far as possible with my fingers, then finish the final tightening with the wrench itself. Okay, that's getting that one. Jump over here on number 5. We're getting close anyway. The problem is this wrench. And I'll show you here right quick. Oop, hit the camera. The shoulders of the wrench right here are so thick, it's hard to get down in there, which is kind of odd. Usually a line wrench isn't quite that thick. I'm not sure why this one is like that, but it's the way it is. So, just trying to get that thing spun down there as far as possible with my fingers. I may grab a regular 3/4 and just see if that'll work for now until I need to put the final tightening on it. With this regular wrench, I can turn it just a little bit better and then actually use the line wrench for the final pull. Just looking at it, I think I'm getting close. Maybe. Come on. Kinda gotta go in at all different angles to make it fit. In fact, part of my problem is that that new valve cover gasket, it kind of sticks out there just a little bit. I may actually take my box cutter and trim just a little bit of that off right there above them lines, or kind of trim it back at least, because it's right in my way. Now let's see if the line wrench does any good. Hey, there we are. I can feel it pulling down. However, I don't want to put a super hard pull onto it. I actually want to leave them crack just a little bit to help bleed air. So that should work. I pulled it down till it tightened up and then backed off about a half a turn or so. Okay, number 5 here, same way. In fact, feels like that one's already beginning to tighten up. All right, let's see what we can do here at the line wrench. Okay, there it tightened. Let's take them back off that way. They can bleed air. Well, I've got to do the next 4. All right, I got the lines tightened up. Well, for the most part, I took and I went ahead and tightened up cylinder number 1 and 5 and 6, because the way they're sitting in there, you can't get to it once you have the alternator up here to start the tractor. You can't access, the alternator blocks it. And 5 and 6 back here, you got the fuel filter assembly that sits right across here, and so you still can't, it blocks off access to those. So what I may do on them 2, or 3, is take and just crack the lines right here on top of the pump itself. Or I may just do all 6 that way. It'd be a little bit easier to get to out here in the open. But right now I am putting this oil line right here that sends oil into the fuel pump. Get that little compression nut started right there. And the little line comes over and hooks on right here on the fuel filter assembly. I'll get this tightened up, and then I gotta start getting the fuel return line hooked onto the pump and also onto the return line on the injectors. And that's asking. That wrench is too small. Gotta grab a bigger one. All right, now I'll get this line here run through, hooked up. I've also got to get the line hooked up right here too. I had a guy tell me that's part of like something about, because that line right here, it runs over and hooks onto the intercooler, and something about it helps for the air and fuel mixture. I don't know if it kind of pulls like a diaphragm inside the pump or exactly what, but I've got to get that thing hooked up also. All right, let's get that little oil line hooked on. Well, hopefully you can see, well, somewhat anyway. Working on getting this is the return line. It's kind of a long one. It comes off of the fuel pump. Let's see here. And goes up and actually dumps back into the top of the fuel tank up on the front of the tractor. Okay, I think I've got it right there. It's got tie-down brackets. So trying to get everything all lined up. Go ahead and spin the little compression fitting on this end. That'll kind of help hold it in place. Let me bring you up a little bit closer. It's got a little tie down right here. Come on. That it sits into, if I can make it go that way. I'll loosen up that little bolt. There we go. Come on. There we are. Okay, that's the little tie down. This tie down right here, that is what holds that the other little line in place. It comes from the air draw part of the fuel pump over to the intercooler. So now we got to jump up on top of the fuel tank. Okay, I think you can see right there. It's got a little tie down tab that hooks onto a little stud bolt right here on the radiator. Oh, I forgot to grab a wrench. And we'll get this tied down. There we go. Well, before I do, I'm gonna get it hooked. Let's get it hooked into the tank first. Maybe you can see that up there. Yeah, there we go. Get that fitting hooked on the tank. Well, at least get it started anyway, that way it can't go anywhere. Okay, we'll leave it loose. Then I'll come back over here and get that hook back up, hook back into that stud bolt. Kind of hard to do this, trying to work with one hand and hold the camera with the other. Oop. Come on, there we go. Okay, well, that's got this part here held in place. Can't go too far. And see that line comes up here behind the fan and right here behind the water pump, or right above the water pump actually. So now we'll jump up here, tighten this little fitting down, and this part here will be done. All right, that's got that. Well, let's see here. Now, in fact, I'll bring the lights over when I'm ready. I've got to start getting the line fed through. It's actually a two-piece to come over here and hook onto the intercooler for the coming out the top of the fuel pump. All right, here's this line. That end feeds over, kind of runs across the top of the water pump. And then you got this end right here. Get the camera pointing down. Hooks in right here into the top of the pump. Now, I just gotta try and get the thing lined up on the other side. If I can get it to fall through. Trying to get all the brackets lined up is easier said than done also. Okay, I think I finally got the thing lining up like it's supposed to. Maybe. Okay, now we gotta jump up here on the front. And try and start getting that thing dropped in to that little bracket. Actually, I'll take that piece apart. Yep. Okay, there's one half of it. Easier said than done, let me tell you. Get a little bit of rusty stuff wanting to come out and get right in them little bolt threads. Okay. I think that little screw's finally starting into that little bracket, that little metal clip. Okay. I'm going to grab me a wrench and kind of bump that down, if it'll go. Alright, now to get the rest of it. Here's the other half of that line that I just put in. Now we're over on the other side of the tractor. And I got to get it looped around. And then it connects right back here on the intercooler. Trying to see exactly how it feeds up through there, trying to get it lined up right. Okay, there we go. Now we're hooked in back here. And I've got to do some adjusting up on the top part of it. Okay, now right, that part right there is another little compression fitting that joins those two little lines together. Okay, now I've got to just start tightening up the clamps. You gotta tighten up this little fitting right here. And sure enough, I made a little goof right here. I thought I had lost a bolt to that right there, so I put a new bolt in there on the exhaust manifold. However, I found the other bolt because it's got a little clamp on it. And I don't know if you can see right there, you can see a mark on that little line where that little clamp pinches that little line down. So I'm going to spin this bolt out and I'll put the right bolt back into that. I'll go ahead and get this joint tightened up. There we go. Okay, that's got that one. Now let's see here. I've got one more joint to get right there. I gotta grab a, I thought that was a 9/16. This must be a 5/8. We'll get that one tightened down.